Okay, so you walk in, and then here is my classroom. Good morning and happy Friday. I hope you had a wonderful week with your students. I am in between classes. I'm just about to go on with my AP students. They have a quiz today, but I thought I would show you some of the ways that I'm structuring my class time. This is the first almost full week of school, right? We've had 4 days because we had Labor Day off. So I thought it might be helpful to give you some inspiration for things that you're maybe doing in your class and give you some ideas for things that you can incorporate to kind of make your time with the students a little bit more manageable and, of course, more meaningful. So I'm going to hop on to my classes. I've got about 4 minutes before class begins, and I'll check in with you guys at the end of the day because I actually have my 9th period class, and then I go right into 10th period, and then we'll end at noon. So I'll check in with you, and I'll also give you a classroom update and show you what I've done so far. It's the end of the day. I had a great day with my students. My schedule is really nice this year because I have my CP students on A days and I have my AP students on B days. So it really helps to make things a little bit easier to keep track of the schedules. So I had all AP classes today. My students took a quiz. I created the quiz in GoFormative and administered it using GoFormative. And then I did a mini lesson on empirical and molecular formulas. That was just to provide scaffolding because my students are ultimately going to be learning about combustion analysis. So all in all, it was great. I was able to kind of mix it up by doing the quiz, the mini lesson, and then the students who ended up working in OWL. OWL stands for Online Web Learning. It's something that I'm using for my students to work homework problems. I can also assign tutorials. So it's really nice because it helps me to be able to break up the class period where the students can look at these tutorials and work through them. It teaches them how to solve the problem, and then they can apply what they learned to a whole bunch of different practice questions. But having that has really been an invaluable tool just to kind of breaking up the class period, and it's really helped my students to know whether or not they know the material. Yesterday I had my CP classes, and with my CP classes they also took a quiz using GoFormative. I did give them a chance to get more acclimated to GoFormative. I synced it up with my Google Classroom, which is the first time I've ever done it. So I am using Google Classroom this year. I know, shocker, I usually use a Google site, but as a matter of fact I'm using Google Classroom, Google site, and an agenda. So I'm planning on doing another video in the future about like how I use each of these things in my class. But for right now, I'm using all three. So in Google Classroom, you can actually sync your roster from GoFormative, which has been really easy to do. And so my students just had to log in using their Google credentials, and then my class was right there for them. So I wanted them to kind of see what it's like to use GoFormative, and then they took their quiz. And then after that, they participated in a digital card sort. This is one of my favorite card sorts. I usually do it in the classroom, but I made it digital because obviously my students aren't with me. So what I do is I give my students a set of scientists, and these scientists are arranged. They have the little dates, so they arrange these into chronological order. And then they have to figure out which atomic model illustration corresponds to which scientist. So they kind of have to take a look at these models and decide ultimately which one is going to come first, second, third, fourth. So they're kind of arranging a timeline. And then they also have the opportunity to analyze those models and try to match them with their atomic model name and their description. It gives my students a chance to see what has occurred over time as our understanding of the atom and our experiments have kind of led us up to what our version of the atom is now. And so it was a great experience because after the students completed that, they did that on their own, they did it separately, and then they combined into their breakout rooms. So I created these breakout rooms where the students would click on my Bitmoji and it would take them to a respective breakout room in a Google Meet. So I asked them to do two things: share their screens, and then also identify what they did in order to decide which model came first, second, third, fourth, etc. After their own breakout rooms within groups, they then came back to the Google Meet, and then we were able to talk about it, and I was actually able to show them the answer. So it was a nice end to the day yesterday. AP had a great day today too, and now I have so much grading, it's not even funny. But before I go, I do want to give you a quick tour of my classroom. Please don't judge me because it's definitely not done. I have to spend a lot more time planning for my classes than I do in my classroom, but it's getting slowly done, and I'm happy with the progress so far. Okay, so you walk into my classroom and you can see this corner looks really good. So I hung up my scientists that I showed in the last video. I completed my bulletin board, which I absolutely love the way that looks. I think it looks so nice with like the green plant next to it. There's another scientist over there in the corner too. I have a bookshelf. I haven't put any books on there. I also need to clean it too. I put some scientists over there, and then I did hang up some more plants. So I've got a total of 3 plants hanging, which I think look really nice. But then you can see that I'm going to have quite the mess back here. So this is all a big old mess, but I'm working on it. Ultimately, the goal is to be able to get into the lab area to record some labs for my students because my AP students have to do some labs this year, so it's going to have to be virtual. But I'll get to it. I'm working through it slowly and steadily, but it'll get done. So I'm pretty happy with my progress so far. Like I mentioned, my goal is I want to be able to videotape labs for my students because I want them to have some lab experience. It's not obviously ideal, but I need to make sure that I'm adhering to what the College Board says. So I need to have 25% of my instructional time devoted to labs. So wish me luck. It's going to be a challenge, but I know I'm going to do it. Even if that means I'm going to be videotaping labs and assigning virtual lab simulations, we'll get it done. I guess that's it for me. I'm going to get out of here and hopefully relax tonight, but it is going to be definitely an AP chemistry filled weekend for me as I prepare my very next unit. So my next unit will be working on some solution stoichiometry. It should be fun. I really enjoy that stuff, and I like the particle diagrams that the students draw. They tend to like it too, so I think it should be a good unit. I'll see if I can come up with some cool things to do with them, some more interactive, engaging things, and I definitely think I am going to record a few Edpuzzle videos this weekend as well. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and I'll be sure to check in with you next week.